Good afternoon. My name is John Whitman. I'm a senior systems engineer with the Network and Security Business Unit at VMware. Today we're going to talk about NSX and micro-segmentation. Now, from a high level, what is micro-seg? Micro-segmentation is kind of a buzzword. It's a hot word that people are talking about right now. You might hear your networking folks talk about it in your company. You might be hearing your vSphere folks talking about it. You've definitely heard about it at VMworld. It's not a new concept. It's something that is revolutionizing the networking industry. So what is micro-segmentation? Okay, let's draw out a typical environment. So let's say I have a 3-tier application. And my application is connected to a router, and these are my switches. Now, with micro-segmentation, these can be virtual switches from NSX. They can be a vCenter or DVS, doesn't matter, okay? But for the sake of conversation, we have 3 switches out in the environment. Now, my application sits on those switches. I have VMs that run in these environments to support my application. Okay, and let's call this app, and this is going to be 10.100.20.x. And this guy is going to be my database, and this is going to be 10.200.20.x. And this is going to be my web, and this is going to be 10.80.10.x. Let's mix it up a little bit, okay? Now, traditionally, you would have to take and run a separate firewall. So if I had 2 VMs that I wanted to talk to each other, they would have to go from one switch to the router, to the firewall, back through the router, and to the switch. And now I can block traffic. I can say that we're only going to allow 80 and 443 and so forth, but we're going to deny, 3, 3, 8, 9, and 10, 10. Okay, so this is traditional, right? With NSX micro-segmentation, we're able to create rules that apply directly on each VM. Now, that's great, John. I'm able to disperse out my firewall rules. I'm able to create an environment where each VM's got a bunch of complex rules. That's the 2D way of thinking of it. Remember, this is ACL lists, right? I have an access control list that says this VM can't talk to this VM over this port and protocol, right? That's very two-dimensional thinking, right? Now, expand your mind and think about 3-dimensional firewalling, where not only can we put a firewall on each VM, we put that firewall in between. We can now group VMs to say that this VM can talk 80 to this VM, right? But these 2 down here can't talk to each other at all. I want to create a global policy that says my web tier is isolated, okay? And I want to create an application tier firewall rule that says each machine is now isolated from itself. Now, to take that a step further, and where I say that this gets into 3-dimensional, is we can start putting wrapper policies not only around entire subnets or around entire switches, but you can now nest these policies. We can take a VM, and I can put a security policy around it that says allow traffic, deny traffic. And you choose what port and protocol that traffic is. Now, I can put another policy around that that says specific VM to VM traffic. And I can put another policy around it that says switch to switch policy enforcement. Now, this is what I mean by three-dimensional firewalling. This is true microsegmentation because if you think about this, this is per VM. This is at the VM kernel level. So actually right where the VM connects to your switch, whether it's an NSX virtual switch, whether it's a standard virtual switch or a vSphere distributed virtual switch, the traffic is stopped right at the virtual machine itself. So instead of creating an ACL policy of 1, 2, 3, deny, allow, deny, allow, deny, allow, this distributed firewall policy is one policy. Deny, allow, from, to, plus, other. So you now have enhanced policies that instead of having lines and lines and lines of ACL access lists, you have inherent, easy to read, easy to decipher distributed firewall policies, right? So this now, take this concept and apply it over here. You're able to take and wrap policies around VMs. And notice how I've taken here, let's take this and scale this out a little bit. I've taken two VMs. I put a policy around one. I put a policy around both. And then I can have a global policy. So this can be my global policy, this can be my group policy, and this can be my individual policy, right? So think of it three-dimensional. Think of it, you can now secure east-west traffic from VM to VM with contiguous IP addresses. You can secure and address an entire subnet. You can secure an entire switch. And remember, you can apply this based off of IP, MAC, switch membership, operating system, and so on. There is an entire list of grouping capabilities for how you can identify a virtual machine out on your network and apply these policies. I hope this sparked your interest. I hope this made sense. Thank you very much, and I hope you watch the next video. Have a great day.